Hello, my friends. You might remember a few years ago there was a big scandal on YouTube when one of the Try Guys, Ned Fulmer, was caught cheating on his wife. And that was a really big deal for a couple of reasons mainly. Number one was he was part owner of the Try Guys company, and it was just a PR nightmare, and it really hurt their finances. He was having an affair with one of his coworkers, a producer, and so there was a power imbalance there, and so they had to let him go. So overall, it was just a really bad look for the company. And another reason it became such a scandal is because of the irony of the situation. Ned had become known to the Try Guy audience as the My Wife guy, because he would constantly talk about his wife.
My wife, 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 my wife.
And lo and behold, he was cheating on her for a while. So they disappeared for a few years, and now Ned is trying to come back. And in order to do that, he has decided to interview his wife to make himself sound more sincere or remorseful by putting her in front of an audience and asking her how she feels about probably one of the most painful things she's had to deal with, which wouldn't be that big of a deal if it didn't feel so performative. And the reason it feels so performative is because all of this is in service of launching Ned's new podcast. And this is the podcast he's trying to get off the ground, and he knows that he can't do any kind of internet content creation without first addressing the scandal. And that's what he's trying to do with this interview, is just to get that part out of the way. Now, I want to look at the cover art for this podcast because it just screams disingenuous. First of all, it's called Rock Bottom, which to me comes off as him saying, look how hard things were for me. You know, I hit rock bottom. And listen, admitting that things were really hard for me is basically taking accountability, if you think about it. So yeah, I'm very remorseful. So remorseful, you guys. I've definitely learned my lesson. So now it's time for a big comeback. And check out my podcast. But then you go to the faces down here, where look how clever he is. He drew an L for loser and X'd out his eyes. Oh, and look, he's even got devil horns. I mean, that screams remorse. Look how bad he felt, you guys. He felt so bad that he drew pictures on his faces. And I can just picture him drawing those things on those faces and just being like, yeah, they're gonna know I'm really remorseful with these. This is really gonna sell it. I don't know how he thought this was going to go well. This is him telling the audience, I have done my time. Look how bad I feel about what I did. Now listen to me make a podcast. And it just sucks because Ariel, his ex-wife, kind of got roped into doing this for him. I mean, she's doing it with him, but she's really doing it for him. And it's uncomfortable. Ned should be embarrassed. This just shouldn't be a thing. But let's watch it and see what they have to say. If you'd like to like and subscribe, that would literally be hectic. I'm not gonna lie. Right from the beginning, it feels performative because they've got the white shirt, the white background, the somber look on his face.
Hi, I'm Ned Fulmer. 3 years ago, I cheated on my wife with my producer. It became a massive public scandal that caused a lot of pain to a lot of people.
Look how sincere he looks, you guys. He looks so sincere.
I know that I represented myself as a kind of wife guy who talked about his relationship and put that out there for public consumption. And you, as a viewer, I know that I broke your trust.
This is carefully scripted. He's saying exactly what he thinks he should say, but this almost feels condescending. It almost feels like he thinks we're stupid enough to buy this. Most people are not buying it.
I betrayed my spouse, co-workers, friends, family, and I betrayed you. And I know it's not just about cheating, that I was a company owner and having a relationship with a producer. Was engaged and friends with all of our friends and coworkers.
Yeah, that was a bad choice. For sure. And that's the saddest part about the whole situation is he screwed things up for his coworkers. All the other Try guys ended up being thrown under the bus because he made bad choices. Now, we all make mistakes. Do I think he should suffer for it forever? Not really. But maybe he's just not supposed to be online anymore. Maybe he should just get like a regular job. I don't know.
It was understandably a messy and devastating situation for everyone involved. And I was the cause of it. I did that. And I can't change it. I can't change the past. I can own it and accept it and try to change how I show up differently in the future.
And again, he's saying the right things, which kudos, I guess, for saying the right things, but I don't know, man, it's the vocal fry, the try to change. It just feels gross. It feels staged. It feels fabricated.
I wanted to say that I'm sorry.
And I think the main reason it feels fabricated is because we know all of this is motivated by money, by him wanting to get back into the spotlight, him wanting to make a comeback. If he did this with no other motivation, right? If he wasn't promoting a podcast or if he wasn't trying to make a comeback, if he just got on the internet and said this stuff and that was it, then I think he would get a little bit more credit. But it's always in the back of your mind that he's doing this for a reason. And that just makes it gross.
I hurt you.
Didn't hurt me.
I hope to make amends over time. And one step is to publicly witness the pain of my partner, Ariel.
I don't know. There's something weird about what he's saying there. He's basically saying the only way for me to move on, or everybody to move on, is for you to witness publicly the pain of my partner. Why? Why? I don't want to witness that. I don't think anybody wants to witness that. I think we can all assume that she was in a lot of pain and might still be. So it just feels so weird that he thinks the best way to do this is to parade her out and go, look how much I hurt her. Am I forgiven? This is so dumb. And I'll be honest, I really don't know what to think about Ariel's involvement in this, because this is clearly for Ned. He is convinced that this will benefit him. Ariel really doesn't get much benefit from this video. But I think they both underestimated the negative response that they would get on the internet. It's clear throughout the interview that they are cordial, right? They're co-parents, they seem to be friends and stuff like that. So I think when Ned said, hey, I want to start a podcast, but I think we might need to address the cheating thing, she was probably like, yeah, okay, whatever, it's fine. We'll do that. Even if she doesn't want to, she's just thinking, it's probably time. He needs to move on. We need to move on. Let's just get out there and do it. But again, I don't think they had any clue what kind of negative response it would get.
This is a conversation with Ariel in this video. It's painful at times. It's vulnerable, brutal. But it's necessary for her to move forward, and I'm grateful for the chance to.
It's necessary for her to move forward? Are you sure?
As disappointed as we were, that something so private and painful became such a public spectacle. I get why people were so outraged, and I understand that that is the reason that she can't move forward with any sort of public thing without addressing this.
And again, if he wasn't promoting a podcast, then I would say maybe there's some merit to what he's saying. But when we get into the interview, you will hear that Ariel is happy to just be private now. So this is not for her. No matter what he says, this is for him.
This is a conversation where we answer your questions. We share what we've been up to these last 3 years and what you can expect from us moving forward. It's about an hour long. And
I've subjected my wife to an hour of this in front of everybody. Shut up.
Perspective, I want to tell stories of curiosity and empathy, and I want them to be meaningful. And
oh yeah, and that's what his podcast is going to be, by the way, is going to be talking to people about like struggles in their lives and when they've hit rock bottom. His first episode after this apparently is going to be about somebody who was addicted to substances and overcame it and stuff. That's why it's called Rock Bottom, is so that he can interview people who have also hit rock bottom. You guys. God, he's so pretentious.
Have value in people's lives. So I hope that you find this impactful. So please join me for this conversation with Ariel Fulmer.
Well, here we are.
Back again.
At it again. It feels weird. It feels a little awkward.
Yeah. Back in a podcasting room.
By the way, that weird buzz in the background, that's them, not me.
Yeah.
I mean, we've certainly had a lot of conversations where we've sat like this,
Yeah, that's true.
but not, conversations that are meant for the public.
Mm-hmm. Is it strange to think that people are watching this and listening to it rather than just being in like a therapy setting?
Oh, heck yeah. It's terrifying.
Yeah, she's terrified. And for whatever reason, bless her heart, she is helping him out.
Yeah.
It's absolutely, yeah. I mean, I'm on the verge of like standing up and walking out of this room. Absolutely.
Same.
Yeah, me too, Yeah, I'm right there with you. What an asshole.
I'm like, what the hell am I doing? What am I doing? But no, I feel like this is a necessary thing.
Yeah, we've kind of been just keeping our lives very private for the last 3 years.
We have.
And just almost hiding from the world.
And he may have her convinced that it's a necessary thing, but I don't think it is. And I don't know, maybe she feels like getting a grip on things publicly is going to help her somehow. But honestly, this all just feels like the brainchild of Ned when he decided to do a podcast and knew that they'd have to clear the air.
We've been hiding. We've been hiding from the world. And I'm not going to lie, it's been kind of great.
Mm-hmm.
It's been kind of great to be super private.
So yeah, she's okay being private. She's okay not being in the spotlight, which is just more evidence that this really is just for him.
How can I move forward in my life without people knowing the next part of my story if they're still stuck on the 2022 part of my story?
That's kind of the thing, isn't it? And that's the whole reason that we're here, because we're stuck in 2022.
Yeah, at least as far as they know.
Exactly. We have moved on with our lives.
Well, and here's the funny thing. I bet most people that saw that he's doing this interview with her were like, oh yeah, I forgot they existed. Even like the biggest diehard fans of Try Guys were probably like, oh right, Ned.
It got so big, right? The whole scandal, it grew and grew and grew and grew. To the point where it just became this thing that just like got so much bigger than us.
Yeah.
And
it was bigger than them. He almost ruined their entire company. Now, luckily, Try Guys has pretty much recovered. I mean, they are not getting the views that they were back then, but who's to say that wouldn't have happened anyway? But he absolutely could have ruined their lives, and kind of did for a while. So yeah, it was very much bigger than both of them, for sure.
And for the last 3 years, I've just hidden behind the scandal, you know? And now, like, now I can't get out from behind it.
Yeah, because it's a big step to like sit down and do what we're doing and to talk about it.
Right. But even like going out in public with like my kids or just going out to dinner or something like that,
Yeah.
I feel like the only thing that people see is the scandal.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can see her feeling that way. That every time somebody looks at her or somebody looks like they may recognize her or something like that, I imagine her first thought is, are they thinking of me as the person that got cheated on? And that's got to be really embarrassing and really hurtful, you know? But I don't think this is going to fix that. So if anything, this is basically just pouring salt on the wound. Because not only did he cheat on her and cause that whole scandal, but now he is using her, basically, to get back into the spotlight.
Also, it's a really strange way to go about your normal life. You know, like I am a human who has needs. Like I want to have regular friends, and I don't want to like walk up to somebody that I want to be friends with at like preschool and have to start every conversation with like, my personal life is a dumpster fire, as I'm sure you know, but also, do you want to be friends with me? You know, like.
And you might think, how big a deal could it really have been that normal everyday people outside of the internet would know about it and Ariel would feel the need to mention it? But this was picked up in a lot of mainstream media as well. Cosmopolitan, Rolling Stone, People. It was everywhere. It was a big deal, especially considering the fact that it was just basically internet drama at the end of the day. It was surprisingly widespread.
Really authentic friendships that have started that way. But like, I don't want to go about my life starting friendships like that.
Yeah. Yeah, you kind of want the new friends to know the context of like who you currently are as a
Yes,
person.
exactly.
I remember I have met some people, like made new friends or kind of introduced myself to strangers. It's like, oh, let's like exchange Instagrams. I'm like, well,
Right?
Here's mine, but couple of caveats. One, I have a lot more followers than you might expect. Two,
And two, if you ever mention my name on the internet, well, just don't mention my name on the internet.
all of this is pretty outdated. And three, don't Google me.
Don't Google me.
Don't Google me.
You
Just
probably don't want to
get
Google
to know me first.
Don't Google me. Please don't Google me. Do not Google me.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
You don't want to be just sort of seen as the sum of your mistakes for me or the sum of your past for you.
Right.
And the challenging thing is it's been complicated for a while. I mean, we are still friends. We have children together. We go on trips together.
Right.
Like, there's a spectrum of being together, not together.
Right.
Like there's ways in which we're together, but it's like the way that everyone wants to know, like, are you guys still like an item? Are you guys still a couple? Like, no.
He's looking at her like, no. Right? I mean, we could be, though, if you wanted to be. I think he still holds out hope that she might forgive him. But, I don't know, man.
We really haven't been at all this last 3 years.
No, we haven't. People ask me, like, do you forgive Ned for what he did? And I mean, the answer is no, absolutely not. How can you forgive somebody for lying to you, for cheating on you? No, fuck no.
Okay, good for her. Honestly, kudos. I almost expected her to be like, after a lot of thinking and soul searching and all that, yeah, I decided to forgive him because life's too short or whatever. She said, fuck no. Good for her. And honestly, that moment might be the entire reason she agreed to do this. I bet that was pretty cathartic to say that publicly. Because here's the thing, it's not necessarily about the fact that he cheated. It's about the fact that he could cheat, that that's the type of person he is. And that's what a lot of people don't understand. When somebody does something, especially if it's really egregious like that, it's not necessarily that they did that thing at that moment. It's the fact that they're capable of it. That they're the type of person that would make that decision makes them just a bad person. So yeah, it was a mistake. It was a bad choice at that time, but the fact that they would make that choice says all you need to know about who they are.
You know, sorry, I saw red for a minute. It's like, no, the answer is no. But also I feel like forgiveness isn't the goal at this point. You know, we've been together for a long time, and you are the father of my 2 beautiful children, and we know each other.
Which makes it even worse.
We've worked through a lot of stuff, and the fact that I can be around you and still like.
Also, that beeping in the background sounds like they're in like a hospital or something.
Have a good time and like enjoy spending time with you and enjoy spending time with my kids. Like, I think that's a win.
Yeah. It's taken a lot of hard work to do that.
Yeah.
And it's kind of, as we've adjusted, we've recalibrated our relationship more towards a platonic friendship. And
he's sort of trying to make it sound like he's saying we have done all this hard work to get to this place. Sort of framing it as though he is as much of a victim as she is. But nobody wants to hear how much hard work he's done because he's not the victim.
It's hard to hear you saying like, fuck no, I don't forgive you. Of course I get it. I mean, you're still, as much progress as we've had, you're still very angry.
Yeah, of course I'm angry. I found out about your affair from the fans. And I was so blindsided that somebody sent me a picture, and it was like my brain couldn't compute.
That sucks, man. Imagine opening your DMs or an email or whatever and seeing a picture of your spouse with somebody else sent by a stranger, basically. That would be so embarrassing. And it's not like it's her fault or anything, but it would still be mortifying to receive something like that from a stranger.
It's like, for some reason, I didn't see what was actually there in the picture. I thought it was your sister. And I remember sending it to you and being like, what's your sister doing in New York? It was, and I think back on that and I think like,
can you imagine the look on his face when she sends him that picture and he's looking through his phone, he looks at it and just like, oh shit, you know, like she's seen the picture and you know he's thinking she's gonna figure it out that it's not my sister. Probably has already figured it out. So you know he was probably shitting his pants as soon as he saw that picture.
What was I like? How did I not see what was going on?
Honestly, that's probably why he was constantly saying, my wife this, my wife that, I love my wife and all this stuff, because he knew she was involved with Try Guys. She was always watching if she wasn't on an episode with him. So I think it was kind of a cover. By being the wife guy, he created a narrative that sort of blinded her and probably everybody. So that if they saw something that they thought was strange, if it was anybody else, they would be like, is he cheating? But he's the wife guy, you know? So they see it and they go, well, obviously he's not cheating. It has to be something else. And they overlook it. So whether it was intentional or not, the wife guy persona was a cover.
What was so fucked up in my brain that I couldn't actually see what was happening in this picture? Like, the picture was right there in front of me, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And then the pieces just started falling and falling and falling. And like, and then more pictures started coming in and more pictures and more pictures and more pictures. And
I just can't imagine how embarrassing that would be. That all these strangers are sending all these pictures and your relationship is falling apart. And I know that the people that are sending the pictures are meaning well. They're trying to help. But putting myself in her shoes, I would just be mortified. And obviously, the rage you would be feeling is kind of the number one thing, but mixed in with the embarrassment just makes it like exponentially worse.
It is so wild how we live in this world where everything is so public. You don't realize it, but everybody's taking pictures of you everywhere you go.
Just like the Coldplay CEO guy, like he did not expect for a video of him with his mistress to be posted on the internet. But that's just gonna happen these days. If you go out in public enough with somebody you're not supposed to be around, at some point, even if you're not like a public figure, chances are it's gonna get back to whoever you don't want it to get back to. Because there are cameras in everybody's pockets and they are out filming, taking pictures constantly. So yeah, she's got a point.
How did having it become such a public scandal kind of change everything for you? Did it make it worse? Did it make it easier? Did it just sort of make it surreal?
Yes, we are somewhat public figures, but like we've never had cameras waiting outside of our house. Like that's not something that we're used to. Like we're not like celebrities. That's not that's not a part of our lives. And this was a period in our lives where we had there was like a car following us, and it was really strange because we had just found out that we were dealing with this with this cheating situation, with this betrayal. We decided to find a new couples therapist, right?
Right.
And so we were driving to our new couples therapist.
That is a little telling because that means they were already in couples therapy if they had to find a new one. So, I mean, maybe she knew more than she thought.
And we see that this car has a camera. I was like, I think that person just took a picture of us. And so we went inside and we talked about it a little bit, and then we had our therapy session, and then we came out, and then there were multiple people outside, and it was probably one of the strangest situations that I personally have ever been in. I did not know what to do with my face. And so my reaction when I don't know what to do with my face is I smile.
Yeah.
That is my go-to reaction when I don't know what to do with my face. I just smile like an idiot.
That was my reaction too.
I smile like...
Yeah, totally. Me too. Yeah. We're so much alike. Did you know that? We're like almost exactly the same. I smile too. Like, just like you.
Like like a cat. I just smile. And so
this is the video that
everyone saw. And
like leaving couples therapy.
We're leaving couples therapy, looking at each other like we don't have a care in the world.
Our neighbors during that time were doing some roof repair work. Mm-hmm. So there was this a construction unmarked white van outside of our house, and it was parked there for like weeks. And we had it in our heads that it was a paparazzi van. And
it absolutely was not.
For weeks, anytime you walk out the door, being like, oh, there's a van.
Yeah. That was really strange.
I can see how that caused you to really feel unsafe and mistrusting of the whole world. Just want to acknowledge that and just note that it's like because of things I did that caused you to experience that.
Yeah.
What was that?
She's like, yeah. Yep, it was because of things you did. She didn't say thanks or no problem or whatever. She was like, yeah.
What was that moment like when everything changed for you?
Awful, obviously.
Why would you ask that? Like, hey, tell me what it felt like to experience probably the worst moment of your life. How do you think it felt? What is this for? Why is, like, I get that it's for his podcast, but this just feels weird and icky that he's like, I want to make sure people know how you felt, so I'm going to make you relive it. I don't know, man. This is gross. And I think Ariel's trying to help him out, right? They are clearly friendly, but I think she's going to wish she hadn't done this, because I just don't get this. I don't get it.
It was kind of surreal. You know, I thought to myself, like, what would somebody who's been cheated on, like, what would somebody in a movie do?
Really?
I don't know. I wasn't thinking like of a specific movie or something like that. I was thinking like, what would, like, what do people do in this situation? You know?
Yeah, because you want to feel like there's some sort of, not like guidebook, but there's some sort of hope because somebody's been through this before and can maybe guide you through it. Even if it comes from a movie, even if it comes from a story, it's like you just need something to hold on to feel like there's a way out. There's a way to get through this without losing your mind.
I wasn't thinking for myself. I was thinking like what do I do next? And I remember we were in New York, and you were just picking me up from the airport, and I was so like naively. So you were driving a rental, and I just naively looked over to you in the driver's seat, and I was like, why was Grace in New York? Like, I didn't realize Grace was in New York. Why was she, you know, referring to that picture that I had sent to you? And you looked over at me with this look on your face, and it was like the veil just fell, like this.
Yeah, because you can't hide that face. You know, when he sees that picture and realizes like this is the beginning of the end. This moment is when it all starts falling apart. You can't hide that face. No matter how good of an actor you are, no matter how many times you do something like that, you can't hide it. Like, that is the moment your life begins to fall apart. And so I would love to have seen the look on his face when he got that picture from her.
You know, like, I knew in my brain that something was going on, but I just sort of refused to believe it. And then when I saw that, like, just wildly guilty look on your face, like you wanted to tell me something, and I didn't even let you say anything. I was like, turn this car around. You don't remember that?
No, I don't remember it happening like that, but it doesn't matter.
How do you remember it happening?
Oh, I mean, you asked me a couple of different follow-up questions as I just sort of answered them. And then, you know, once you really...
And honestly, that moment for both of them was probably a blur. Their hearts were racing, their minds were racing, and I imagine they probably both were just trying to process what was happening. So I imagine neither of them really remembers how it went down.
Once I, you know, answered it in such a way that you knew exactly who it was and what had happened, yeah, then you were like taking me back to the airport.
Yeah.
That part was very cinematic. If you were trying to be like in a movie.
Turn this fucking car around.
I mean, yeah, I think there was a lot of sort of delusions and rationalizations that you, as the person doing that, sort of are telling yourself as to why it's not so bad, or why it's going to be okay, or why actually this talks about it in this way. And then it's like, I remember that moment, it all just kind of like...
And I see what he's trying to say there, but think about what he's actually saying. He's saying he figured out a way to rationalize this choice, this action, that he knew would devastate Ariel if she found out, when she found out, because people always find out. And that's what I mean when I say it's not necessarily about the specific act of cheating or those choices in those moments. It's about the fact that he's capable of doing that. And the fact that he's capable of rationalizing that, saying, yeah, this is going to completely destroy her, but let me think of a way to make it continue. Just the fact that he's able to rationalize it and come up with an excuse just shows what kind of person he is.
Fell down where I totally could see how devastated and just completely traumatized you were. And then it was just like, oh, everything changed for me as well. I'm like, oh no, this is...
And you know, the crazy thing is, he didn't even end up with the woman that he had an affair with. So it was all for basically nothing. And I want you to still keep in the back of your mind, I haven't mentioned it in a minute, but just remember all of this somber tone, the vocal fry, the coming clean is all so that he can promote his podcast. And he will at the end of this. So just keep that in the back of your mind this whole time.
Like I've been hurting this person that I love this whole time.
You didn't realize until then.
Well, but then there's other things you tell yourself to kind of sort of compartmentalize, or I guess.
And he probably did compartmentalize, but that doesn't mean he didn't know it was going to devastate her when inevitably she would find out. That's just going to happen. Just newsflash out there. If you're cheating on somebody, they will find out one day. It's just gonna happen. There's no way to cheat forever.
Interesting.
It's like a addictive cycle, kind of feeling really guilty and ashamed, and then telling yourself the ways in which it's, kind of just lying to yourself. And then,
Yeah, what he was gonna say there was telling yourself the ways in which it's okay, but it's not okay. He realized halfway through that, oh wait, I can't say that there are any ways that it was okay, so he has to switch and say the ways that you lie to yourself. And notice that he's being careful with what he says, and he compares it to being an addict, which to me feels like he's sort of shifting blame a little bit.
yeah.
Also, weren't they in couples therapy? Have they never talked about this before? She's acting like this is the first time she's hearing any of this. Why is she discovering all this on a podcast in front of everybody? Ned, you suck, bro. This is uncomfortable and embarrassing and gross.
And I did want to tell you, and there was probably a small part of me that was sort of relieved to not be keeping a secret, I guess. Is that hard for you to hear?
No, that part's not hard for me to hear. I think it's, I've done a lot. I've spoken a lot with other betrayed partners over the last 3 years, and it's something that I've heard a lot. This idea of like when there's this sense of relief when the partner who's doing the betraying is able to finally tell the betrayed partner that about all the things that they have been doing.
Well, yeah, but that's the way it is with anything, right? When you're guilty and you feel guilty for doing something, once you finally come clean, there's a sense of relief. It's the same as when people are being interrogated for unaliving somebody. It's a well-known phenomenon that they feel relief from coming clean and just letting people know what happened. So, yeah, that's just human nature, I think.
And in our like society where couples are, especially married couples, when men have affairs, women are often looked at as like, well, what did you do wrong? And it's so hard to get out from under that of like, well, what did you do?
Is that the case, really? Like, more often than not? That if a woman is cheated on, people overall look at her and say, what did you do? I don't know. It doesn't seem that way to me. I know that she feels that way. And online, you're always going to get some of the worst takes ever. But I would say the overall population would see a situation like this and know that Ned's just the bad guy. Like, again, with the CEO at the Coldplay concert, I don't think people looked at him and were like, what did your wife do to make you do that? You know, I just don't think that's the case. Maybe I'm completely out of touch, but let me know if I'm wrong. I could be.
Were you not a good enough wife? Were you not?
See, and that just sounds like her blaming herself, which is normal, I think. I think that's just kind of what you do when something like that happens, but I don't think other people were looking at her like that.
Did you not make him happy enough? You know?
That's all
And
internal.
there was so much shame there. And I'm so tired of holding that. I'm so tired of holding it. How does it make you feel to hear that? I mean, did it ever occur to you that not only did you having an affair just it shattered our marriage, but it also, like, all of that guilt and shame, you like hoisted that on me. Like, you gave that to me. And now I have to carry that around for the rest of my life.
I don't think it's fair that as a society you're put in that position. It's certainly not true.
Good job, Ned. That was a good response. Yeah, society, man. Sucks that you have to go through that. Yeah. Shut up. But honestly, I don't know that there's anything he can say in this interview that won't make him look just worse and worse the more he talks. Because of the fact it's all self-serving.
And no, it's not something that I imagined as I was doing that. I think none of it was. If you really like let it sink in just how much you're hurting your partner and how devastating it is, like, how could you do that? It's still very difficult now, even 3 years later, to see you in pain as you're talking about that. And I guess there's nothing I can do to change the past or to help.
I feel like I'm in a really good place now, and going back to like before I discovered the affair, it feels like going back to this weird fantasy world where, like, I don't know, I thought we had this love that like transcended, I don't know, but it was a fantasy. And I just think, how could you do that to me? Like, who are you?
This feels awfully fresh, considering this happened 3 years ago and they've been in couples therapy, supposedly, for all this time. I don't know, man. It feels like she's coming to these realizations right now, like on air. And honestly, this may be a pretty smart play for her, because at this point, especially after this, I think she could go and do whatever she wants. If she wanted to start a podcast, if she wanted to start a YouTube channel or whatever, I think she could get a lot of support real fast. Because I think a lot of people are looking at this. To me, at least, it feels like he's using her to atone for what he did. He's like, look, guys, I'm doing the hard thing by talking to my wife. So we're cool, right? Now, on to the rest of my career.
I'm so sorry.
Like, we had so much. There was so much. We had so much life left. We still have so much life left. I don't know why I'm crying.
Well, the dream started to break apart for me, and then rather than being able to talk about it or to confront those feelings, I wanted to, I guess I was too afraid to say how I was actually feeling, and it seemed, I don't know.
I call bullshit on that. What he's saying, from what I can tell, is the dream started to fall apart, right? Their relationship in his mind started to fall apart. And instead of saying something, he found comfort with somebody else, I guess. I just call bullshit. I think they just got along and he had a crush and she had a crush and it just happened and they didn't care enough about their partner to not let it happen.
I chose to deal with it and deal with like feelings I was experiencing in a way that was really self-destructive and hurtful to you.
You know, people say that a lot when they get caught cheating. They always kind of blame it on the relationship. And he's sort of off and on saying that it's him, but by saying the relationship was falling apart, so then I dealt with that in a self-destructive way, he's sort of blaming the relationship. It wasn't me. The relationship was just starting to be bad. So I made bad choices because of that. It's just another form of blame shifting. And I think it's pretty common among cheaters and people who betray their partners and stuff.
And it wasn't like anything you did or like we had a bad marriage. It was about me and choices that I made and just actions that I took that I'll always regret. I'll always regret how much pain I caused you and other people, you know. And I'm deeply, deeply sorry. And I'll spend my whole rest of my life trying to make amends to you and to, you know, show up differently, to lead a life of integrity and to be a father that our children can learn from.
The PR guy is in the background going, "You did it just like we rehearsed. Good job."
Because you did nothing to deserve this, and I completely, suddenly, violently shattered our marriage, our relationship, and like everything you knew, and that was all my fault. It was all choices that I made.
And of course, he's saying the right things. But again, if he had just done this without any other ulterior motive, without any financial gain to be had, if he just made this video and then disappeared, then we might take it a little more seriously. We might actually believe him. It wouldn't feel so performative and so icky. But that's not what's happening here.
So where do we go from here?
I mean, that's kind of how we've been, what we've been working on, I guess, over the last 3 years. We can make new promises to each other as friends, as co-parents. What was the thing that kind of started changing things for you?
Maybe just time. Time and, I don't know, courage.
Time, courage, and Steve.
I mentioned making those authentic relationships, like finding those real friends.
Look, she said authentic relationships, and he's like, with who? Look at that face. That is the what kind of relationships face.
Like finding those real friends.
Oh.
And they're like, I don't care that your
He was afraid she was going to start talking about Steve.
life is messy. I really like you for who you are. I see your joy. I like every part of you.
Yeah.
And I want to be a part of your life. Like, don't push me away, you know?
It was a real moment of kind of discovering who your real, true, authentic friends are and
Yeah.
kind of then cherishing that and, you know, those people that you can kind of be completely yourself with
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
and not just seeing a one-dimensional version of you.
Yeah, totally.
When did things start to feel a little more safe for you?
I think
See, I think what he's leaning towards here is like, are you back to normal? Is everything fine? Am I good to continue on my public career online? So he's kind of fishing for her to say, you know what, I'm good now. Almost like giving him permission to start doing his podcast and start getting back into the spotlight.
We've moved on. You know?
Right.
Like, I can go on dates and not have people be whispering about me. I don't know. I just imagine a world where I can just be myself and not have this thing following me around. You know, where I don't have to, like, where maybe we are at a restaurant with our kids and I don't have to feel shame because I'm like, you know, having fun.
Right.
You know, where people are like, oh my God, are they back together?
And I would say some of the shame probably just comes from being out in public and people seeing you just knowing what he did, right? Almost like being ashamed to be around a person that did that to you. I would be ashamed of that. And I think over time you would get over it and probably stop being ashamed, but it doesn't sound like she has because it's clearly still on her mind.
Right.
Just because I'm like having a joyful time with my kids and my ex-husband, you know, like, is that a crime
Yeah.
to feel joy? Like,
Can I live?
you know,
Let them.
let them.
Let them. Yeah. 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 I mean, we're going to Greece together next week.
Right.
It's like, life is weird sometimes.
Like, yes, like we travel together.
And if they've figured out a way to make it work, that's great. You know, they have to co-parent, and if they can be around each other all the time, then that's wonderful. This is just what's unnecessary. This interview where they try to make Ned seem sympathetic and seem forgiven and seem like he is atoning for his sins or whatever, we just see through it. And that's the big problem. It's just disingenuous. It feels disingenuous. We know it is. And so it's kind of insulting almost. And you know, Ned thought, I'm going to put this out and everybody's going to think I'm awesome now because I totally took responsibility. But it just doesn't feel that way.
Yeah, we've like redefined our relationship, not as partners, romantic partners.
Yeah.
It was sort of like, you know, family or platonic partners and pals, if you want to say pals. Somebody that's your friend, or like another couple that you're friends with, just will say like, you know, hey, like it was shitty what you did, and also everyone goes through hard times, and you move forward the best you can. And whether you are together or not, or sort of together friendly, but not romantically, like however you want to live your life as your family moving forward, that's like your business.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's honestly the truth. It's their business. But again, he had to bring it out into public again, bring it all up, get it all out there for one reason.
At the same time, people looking on the outside can kind of feel that nonchalance. And on the inside, it's like, what I did to you is one of the most devastating things I think that a person can experience. Like I understand why, broadly speaking, these like scandals are such, you know, ignition points, because it's a lot of people can relate to it, and a lot of people feel so much pain around it.
Mm-hmm. And it can be both.
And I don't know if he's doing it intentionally. Probably. He has said it a few times that, you know, there's so many people that can relate to what we've gone through and what we've been through. There are so many people that can relate to a scandal like that. And I think he's kind of downplaying it. I think he's trying to make it seem like it's not that big a deal. Lots of people will go through it, you know? And I probably wouldn't assume he was being so sneaky or underhanded if he didn't have very specific motivations for making this video in the first place. So I thought we'd take a quick detour and look at the Instagram page for the podcast, because it is not looking so good. But I did really like a couple of comments. This first one says, so let me get this straight. You took over Baby Steps, which was a podcast that they did together a long time ago before the scandal, which was mainly aerials and was eligible for monetization, and rebranded it to this victim mentality nonsense. Dude, you couldn't be more tone deaf if you tried. This wasn't your rock bottom. It was aerials. You ruined lives. No one wants to hear the fake emotion and the forced monotone. This is so embarrassing. Well said, Broadway on Broadway. And then I like this one too. It says, rock bottom, be for real. Oh no, a rich white guy had to suffer the consequences of his actions. And then I like this one too. This is how I find out I still followed Ned Fulmer. And then along the same lines, ooh, I didn't realize I still followed him. So they spend some time talking about their kids and basically saying, you know, all the therapy and stuff is worth it for their kids. And I know a lot of people would say, why are you even friends with him? Why are you spending any time with him? Why are you trying to make this work after what he did? But they have to co-parent. And that really is more important than everything else. You kind of have to make it work. Because no matter how much you hate the guy, he's still their dad. And you don't want to hurt the kids because of something the dad did.
So what are you going to do now that you're back on the internet?
It's a great question. For a long time.
Debatable. I mean, he's back on the internet right now. In this video, he is. But I don't think this went the way he expected. I think he underestimated how easily people would see through his persona in this video and see right through to the motivation behind it. I think he overestimated his ability to make it seem genuine, because it doesn't seem genuine.
I didn't want to return to the internet because I didn't see a way of, I didn't want to be myself. I didn't want to make anything. I didn't feel creative. And as time has moved on, I have a desire to create and to tell stories, but I don't really want it to be about myself as a character or myself or my relationship or my personal life. You know, I've always been drawn to things that make people curious. And
this is the plug. This is where he starts talking about his podcast. And this is where it all falls apart. Any sincerity that you might have felt up to this point, you realize it was performative. It existed simply for this moment. And the worst part about it is, even if it is sincere, it doesn't matter. Because it doesn't feel sincere, because we know that the motivation is to get him back on the internet. So any real sincerity is wasted in a video like this.
And I don't know, maybe I can, because of what I've gone through and
what I've gone through. I refer you to this comment on your post on Instagram about your new podcast. Rock bottom, be for real. Oh no, a rich white guy had to suffer the consequences of his own actions. What I've gone through, shut up.
people and empathize with people. What?
Yeah, I know. Just you think you're interesting enough?
No, I don't.
You think other people?
I think other people would be interesting, and then that's regardless of whether I think I'm.
No, I don't think I'm interesting enough. See how self-deprecating I am? It's all the remorse, you guys. I feel so bad. I'm so self-deprecating, you guys. Like super self-deprecating. That's how you know I feel really bad about what I did. And I'm totally ready to come back to the internet, okay?
I don't want to talk about my personal life or my family. Like, I want to keep our children out of the spotlight. I keep our dating lives private. Like, it's not a good idea for my mental health, at least, but I think also in general. I want to make stuff that helps people learn things, make stuff that helps people like empathize with others. And, you know, the idea behind the podcast is to tell stories of other people's challenging times and how they overcame them. because of there's one thing I noticed is that people really seem to care about the train wreck that I caused.
Yeah, they do care. Of course they care. Number one, it's the internet. People on the internet care about stuff a lot. But also, you ruined lives, just like that comment said. For him to be so flippant about it, especially like his first time talking about it really since it happened, I don't know, it kind of seals the deal for me that there's really no sincerity here.
Would you say that that was your rock bottom?
Ariel, don't encourage him.
Have you hit your rock bottom? Or do you think?
I hope so, yeah. I think the moment for me is you like sent me a text that night that was like, I don't think we can get past this. And it's just sort of like my whole world crashed. I was like, oh, right. So what I did wasn't like in our boundaries or in any sort of, like what I did was unforgivable and there's no hope. And I don't think I slept that night. I remember writing you a long letter, and it was ironic. That weekend I was at a wedding, and they like played our wedding song as their dance. And it was like black tie. Everyone's very fancy. I was just like stepping away to cry every 20 minutes.
Oh, don't you feel sorry for him? Don't you just wish he didn't hit rock bottom? It's the victim complex. You know, he says the right things for the most part by saying, it's my fault, I did this, etc. But then he goes and says that he hit rock bottom and starts talking about how rough things were for him. And I don't doubt that life sucked for the last 3 years for him. And I don't think somebody should have to live with that forever. But you also can't go around talking about it like you're the victim. Like your life was that rough, because nobody wants to hear it.
Will you ever be returning to some of your past work?
What kind of work?
Like your old podcast?
No. No, I don't think so. No, I'm grateful for my time there, but no, I think that era is over.
So what's next?
Yeah, she just wants to stay out of the spotlight, and I get that. She said at the very beginning that she's been pretty private over the last few years, and it's been great.
Do you think you're going to be like a public, like do you want to continue being an influencer?
Probably not. I love just going into my pottery studio and just sitting at my wheel and getting so dirty and not filming it.
I think that by kind of moving forward more as individuals, we'll each be able to kind of be the best version of ourselves and to kind of discover maybe parts of ourselves that are less to the forefront when you're like really in a relationship.
I also am discovering the part of myself that is on a new podcast called Rock Bottom with Ned Fulmer.
That's what I hope for us, is to have a parenting partnership based on in laughter, in respect, and in honesty.
Me too.
Thank you again to Ariel. Thank you for your honesty, your vulnerability, your directness. This truly meant a lot to me, and thank you for watching. Next week, I'm excited to not be the subject of the episode. I'll be having a conversation with Laura Love Harden.
And there we are. Their conversation, monetizing their divorce, basically, their cheating scandal, was an episode. He says on the next episode. And that's why it feels so disingenuous. Because it is. It was an episode of a podcast. It was an episode of his podcast that he wants to get off the ground, that he wants to be successful. And so this conversation that he frames as this meaningful thing between him and his wife to sort of clear the air and to make things right publicly, was meant to kickstart this new project. This new project in which he plays the victim by calling it rock bottom. Like, if he has a PR team, they should probably be fired. Because I don't know how anybody thought this was a good idea.
She is a mother who overcame a battle with heroin addiction and eventually was a Oprah book club bestseller. So it's full of insightful and human drama, and you're not going to want to miss it. So see you next week, and take care.
So you can see what he's trying to do with the podcast. And calling it rock bottom makes sense. Because like he said in the next episode, he's going to be interviewing somebody who overcame substance abuse and stuff like that. Which would be fine, except he is framing it as though he can relate to them. He's saying, look, we've all hit rock bottom. Even me. Like, no, no. You just suffered the consequences of your terrible decisions and your selfish behavior. And so it's clear what he's trying to do is come back to the internet as this altruistic person who is going to be talking with people who have hit rock bottom and to be an inspiration. But it's just, again, it's just so disingenuous. It's clear a lot of thought was put into how can I get back on the internet? How can I get back into content creation? And being the hero / victim / inspiration person was what he thought would be the key, the ticket to getting into everybody's good graces. Almost like he's doing it as his penance, you know? Judging by the response so far, which has been overwhelmingly negative, not just from the likes to dislike ratio, but every story I've seen about this, every video I've seen about this has been ripping into Ned for making such a terrible decision in creating the podcast and doing the interview with his wife. It's just, I don't know what he was thinking. What he should have done was make this episode and then wait a year, you know, or make this episode last year. Put some space in between talking to your wife and releasing a podcast. Because it is obvious that the entire reason for trying to clear the air and make things right with his wife was just to sell his podcast. But I can't see him getting a huge audience, you know, a big enough audience to really call it a success. But you just never know how these things are going to go, but I just don't see it doing very well. I'll be surprised if it's successful. So I guess we'll see. Anyway, I appreciate you guys so much. I'll see you in the next one. Take care.